bundle up for tumbling temperatures. How frigid our weekend will feel, and town by town, who could see a wintry mix.
Then, breaking news, a local woman accidentally shot and killed. We're live at the home where police are investigating with what happened. Then, cancer warnings on alcohol. Could using labels really make a difference? New at 7, a member of UNC's Cancer Center weighs in.
All right, let's get started. What a strange weather week it has been. You could have worn shorts on Monday, and now it's on to the long undies. Long undies now.
Well, there's a visual for you.
So we have some winter weather we're watching out for right now. Thank you for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty.
And I'm Ashley Rowe. So this is what we're dealing with. Wind chills in the teens, possibly a winter storm system on Sunday night. Mike, there is a 100% chance that it's going to be cold. And now we're seeing some flurries across parts of the region.
Yeah, I had mentioned earlier in our earlier newscast that as this moisture comes in, some cold air aloft can mix in, producing some snow flurries. Amy Wilmoth over at Drive Shack over in Raleigh sending me video of some flurries coming on down. So we are seeing on the radar some precipitation. You could be looking at some flurries. Be aware of that. This will last for the next hour or so, and that's about it. And then the cold air will continue to pour on in. The next step is the wintry potential for Sunday night and also on Monday. Here is a brand new run of our European model Sunday morning at 5 a.m. showing a lobe of moisture up into southern Virginia as we head into the evening. Could be a little bit of light snow. Then it changes over into that pink, which would be some freezing rain. There's some rain across the rest of the viewing area in the morning on Monday. Still a mix of some freezing rain and rain up to the north during the afternoon. That rain here moves on by, but at the end of the event, as cold air comes in and still moisture in place, it could actually change over to all snow before all is said and done. So at the end of the event, in North Carolina, we could watch out for snow. Now, coming up in less than 15 minutes, I'll track the snow system, who will see snow up to the north, and how cold will be this weekend.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Investigators in Moore County say a man shot and killed a woman. They say it was an accident. Sky 5 flew over the scene on Longleaf Drive in the Seven Lakes West subdivision. The shooting was reported around 2 p.m. First responders tried to save the woman. They were not successful. WRAL's Sean Gallagher joins us from the area live tonight. Sean, why are deputies calling this an accident? What do we know about the people involved?
Ashley, a lot of those details are quiet right now. Law enforcement not sharing much. They won't even share the names of the individuals involved. But in the last hour and a half, I've learned that the man involved is named Chris Loken. The fire department releasing his name because he's a volunteer firefighter here in West End, and he's been there for a little bit less than a year. But I want to give you a look at this subdivision here behind me. This is about as close as we've been able to get. This is a gated community, so only residents are able to get in and out of this area. But this is what it looked like from up above. Sky 5 capturing this video from the scene earlier today. First responders arrived here just before 2 o'clock for an accidental shooting. They say they tried to save the woman's life that was here, but she died on scene. The sheriff's office tells me the woman is in her 40s and in a relationship with Loken, who's also in his 40s, but they would not specify what type of relationship they're in. Now, the fire department is working on an official statement, but I did speak to the chief over the phone, and he shares with me, they say this is just a tragic incident that they're dealing with here, and that they will be supporting Loken along this entire process. In West End, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
5 people have died from influenza in the state of North Carolina, the most in a single week. These numbers coming from the State Department of Health and Human Services. Keep in mind, these 5 deaths occurred during the week of Christmas, and that's up from 3 deaths the week before. And then 2 weeks before Christmas, you had 2 deaths reported. Keep in mind that the Department of Health and Human Services updates these numbers every Wednesday, and so far, none of these influenza deaths involve children.
Thank you, Aaron. If you are just getting to the news on this Friday evening, let's get you caught up. Here are 5 things you should know right now. Tonight, the girls' basketball team at Cedar Ridge High School honored their former teammate who died in a shooting. Counselors and support services are there for students and staff. Zakira Wardlow was found dead early Monday morning in Hillsborough. Still no word on what led up to the shooting or who pulled the trigger. The SBI is investigating. The funeral procession for the Greensboro police officer shot and killed in a Food Lion is next Thursday. It'll be at noon, stretching about 9 miles, ending at Westover Church. The service will be at 2 p.m. Officer Michael Horan was shot and killed last Monday. Terrell McMillan is charged with first-degree murder. North Carolina Congresswoman Virginia Foxx fell down in the U.S. Capitol building today. The These are pictures of people helping her. She appears to have been bleeding from her face. This was right after she was sworn in. She posted about the fall this evening, saying, "Just a few small cuts. I'm doing just fine." She says, "I am a mountain woman, and we are tougher than a $2 steak."
What a thing to say after that. I hope she's recovering well. So it could take 2 to 3 months to repair a section of Walnut Creek Trail in Raleigh. You see it here. Someone set fire to that bridge on the trail on Christmas Eve. This is near Walnut Overlook Way and South New Hope Road. It's a very busy stretch through that thoroughfare there. The city says the repairs will require some time due to unique materials and the design. A safe alternative route is simply not available. The head of Wake County's Board of Commissioners is stepping down. Matt Calabria will take the position with Governor Josh Stein's administration. We expect to get some more details about this on Monday about what exactly this new position will be. Governor Stein says the state is moving fast to get up 2,000 trailers to western North Carolina. This is part of those executive orders that he signed this week, and it's meant to help storm survivors who lost their homes. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie talked to one of those survivors about the dire need for more relief.
Kathy Marlowe is a teacher in Fairview, a small town in Buncombe County. She says her community is thankful for all the help it's received so far. But 3 months after Helene came through, it still has a long way to go.
There's still people taking showers at our community center. There's still people that are homeless. There's still people with lots of needs.
Governor Josh Stein says some 12,000 people in western North Carolina are still displaced. Most are living in hotels or apartments or staying with family, but some want to stay on their property, even if that means camping.
As we are in the coldest months of the year, it is urgent that people have warm and safe places to live now.
So far, FEMA has been in charge of setting up trailers, but it's been very slow. Stein says the state is not subject to the same federal regulations that FEMA is, so it can move faster to set up as many as 1,000 trailers that FEMA will still pay for.
So what we want to do in these first 6 months, when FEMA is giving 100% reimbursement, to get as many people into these temporary housing units as we possibly can so that they can be on their own properties, safe, overseeing the reconstruction and rebuilding of their properties.
Marlowe says that would be a welcome gift to many in western North Carolina.
I know a lady that's homeless in my community that's been staying in a hotel, but my understanding is, like I said, she's got a trailer and everything now, but she can't move in until FEMA does what they need to do to let her move in, and she's just wanting a home, just like everybody else.
Laura Leslie, WRAL News, Raleigh.
So if you weren't already on the dry January hype train that a lot of people get on this time of year, here's something that might get you on board. Today, the Surgeon General said alcoholic drinks should carry cancer warnings on the label. We're going to dig into the data on this and ask someone from UNC's Cancer Center about it. So join us for that conversation right after the break.
Before we go to break, though, we want to talk about some sad news. Maybe you've heard today, Ripken the bat dog died on New Year's Day. His owner posted today saying he died from a serious undiagnosed medical condition. Ripken wasn't just any dog. He was a symbol of sports in our area, a reminder of the joy of the game, no matter which game it was. His owner, Michael O'Donnell, taught him to fetch bats at an early age. Ripken started fetching bats for the Holly Springs Salamanders, and in 2020, he became the official bat dog of the Durham Bulls. Ripken was a fan favorite for the young and old. He started fetching the tee after kickoffs at NC State football games. He made an appearance on the Kelly Clarkson Show. Ripken also dropped the puck before Canes games. And he even took his talents to Charlotte, fetching tees for the Carolina Panthers. That's part of why this is so sad. That video of him in a Panthers jersey was from December 22nd, not long ago. Here's how Ripken's owner put it in his post today. Ripken was more than a dog. He was more than a pet. He was a bright, furry light that spread smiles around the world. We've talked with Ripken's owner a lot over the years, and we found something he said 2 years ago that still rings true today. Take a listen.
He absolutely loves what he does out there. If a dog could smile and do backflips of happiness, I think Ripken does that every day.
Such a sweet dog. No doubt somewhere in doggy heaven, that is exactly what Ripken is doing. We'll be right back.
All right, this was pretty interesting. Did you see this today from the Surgeon General? He says that alcoholic beverages should have labels saying that they cause cancer, kind of like what we see with cigarettes. And it's true, drinking alcohol does increase that risk. But would a label make you think twice? Earlier today, I asked someone with UNC's Cancer Center about it. Joining me now is Dr. Seth Noor, a professor at UNC's Hussman School of Journalism, a member of the Cancer Prevention and Control Research Program at UNC's Cancer Center. Dr. Noor, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
So this announcement from the Surgeon General feels kind of obvious. I mean, there's a general understanding that alcohol is bad for you, but is there less of an understanding about its link to cancer? I'm wondering why this announcement was made now.
Great question. I think the reason it was made now is that studies have been undertaken and the evidence has been growing, and it got to the point where the evidence has become very strong that alcohol causes cancer. In fact, in the report, they lay out how alcohol is linked to 7 different types of cancer, and they go on to show that a majority of Americans do not know this. And so I think this was the reason to put this report out now.
So the Surgeon General saying that about 45% of people are aware that alcohol increases the risk of cancer. So most people aren't aware. That number is also 89% when it comes to tobacco and it's linked to cancer, and 91% with radiation and it's linked to cancer. I'm wondering, are those numbers higher with cigarettes and radiation because of labels in some way? But I'd also like to mention a bit of a caveat. The same research shows that 53% of people are aware that obesity increases a cancer risk. And I'm wondering, where do the labels end? Should they be on unhealthy foods, processed foods? Should they be everywhere?
That's a great question. I mean, I think that people are not going to know things if we don't communicate and raise awareness about things, right? And so people think about cancer, think about causes of cancer, at least the preventable causes, people may think about things like radiation and smoking, right? 2 of the factors that are very strongly related to cancer and cause cancer. But I think the average person doesn't think as much about things like obesity and, in this case, alcohol. And so communication campaigns, labeling, warning labels can help raise awareness and really let people know, increase public understanding. And then, it's going to be up to people if they want to drink, if they don't want to drink, how much they want to drink. That's going to be up to the individual. But at a minimum, the idea is let's let people know the facts.
When it comes to labels specifically, though, do we know that they work?
That's a great question. What I always like to say about warnings and warning labels is, do they work? The answer is always, it depends. And so the short answer would be yes, they do work. But I say it depends because it depends on how they're designed, right? Just because you put a warning on a product doesn't mean it's going to work. But it depends on what's the size of the warning. Is it placed prominently on the product where people can see it? Does it have imagery that accompanies the text? So there's several factors that affect that. If you look at the current alcohol warnings, they seem to be designed in a way that probably makes them not work. They are small print. They tend to be on the back or the side of the alcohol container. And I think this is why the awareness of this is so low. Now, the current warning doesn't mention cancer. It mentions something about health problems, right? So we also need to have a warning about cancer specifically, but the effectiveness is affected not only by what it says, but where it's placed on the product.
All right. It'll be interesting to see where all this goes. Dr. Noor, thank you so much for your insight and your time tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, really interesting stuff. And the Surgeon General really big on these warning labels with social media as well. Hey, we got to talk about all of the snow that these skiers and snowboarders have been getting all day long. I'm jealous, Mike.
Yeah, and the ski resorts that we've been watching on camera, crowded.
Yeah.
Crowded yesterday, crowded today, probably will be crowded over the weekend. Banner month for the ski resorts up there because of the man-made snow that they're able to make because it's so cold, plus nature kicking in today. I saw up to 4 inches of snow at the Carriage House up in Ashe County at my place. So very cool to see. Unfortunately, I'm not there. I'm here pointing out that we're seeing some snow flurries locally, getting reports of snow flurries over toward Durham, over to Raleigh. So what we're seeing on the radar here is probably some sprinkles and some snow flurries. I had mentioned around 4 o'clock as I was showing Futurecast, it was showing a little blue showing up across the area on the model, which would indicate some snowflakes. So don't be surprised if some of this is falling in the form of some flakes that wouldn't cause any impact on the roads, but just cool. Say, hey, look at little flurries coming down. We're getting our little share here. Nothing like what the mountains are seeing, though. 43 right now at the airport. Temperatures really come down from the 52 we had just a few hours ago. 37 at Roxborough, 43 at Southern Pines, 44 at Rocky Mount. And hour by hour with the winds kicking up to 30 miles per hour. That'll drive the wind chills down into the teens and 20s by daybreak. It will be rather bitter when you start the day if you're stepping outside on Saturday. So all week we've been talking about the potential for something frozen at the end of the weekend. And on Monday, models waffled back and forth. And for much of the week, there wasn't anything frozen. It was at the start of the week that the European model was suggesting we could see some frozen precipitation up in southern Virginia. Now that our system is over land, we're getting better sampling of the atmosphere. And not surprising, we're seeing a little shift and what the models are producing. So it is also showing a swath of snow from the plains all the way through the Ohio Valley up into the mid-Atlantic states. So it's important to note if you're taking a road trip up to the north over the weekend and then coming back on, say, Sunday and Monday, you are going to run into snow across the mid-Atlantic states. And on the tail end of this system, we could see wraparound moisture in the colder air mix to produce some snow. That's what the European model is showing now. Now, I have to stress that you need to tune into Anthony and Chris over the weekend. They'll have high-resolution model data. Now, unfortunately, I don't have access to that yet. My high-resolution model goes only to 11 o'clock on Sunday night, indicating that there could be some snow up in southern Virginia during the day. But then after that, it just kind of shuts off. Tonight at 10 on Fox 50 and 11 o'clock on WRAL, I'll have a brand new run of high-resolution model data that goes at least through 8 a.m. on Monday, so we'll get a better idea of what's going on. I trust high-resolution model data than I do the European and the American model. So tune in tonight and tune in over the weekend so we get a better idea of what to expect. So Sunday at lunchtime, the high-resolution model is showing some snow across southern Virginia, just a lot of clouds across our part of North Carolina, maybe some sprinkles. That little lobe of moisture moves on by, and then during the evening, we see some sprinkles, maybe some ice pellets, maybe some freezing rain, depending on how cold it is. Well, of no consequence, though, and we get to 11 o'clock Sunday night, and then pretty much everything shuts off. The question is, when this rain moves in, will it be cold enough for anything to be frozen across southern Virginia? Right now, I just don't know that with 100% certainty, so check back again later on tonight and, of course, into the weekend. Certainly will be cold tomorrow, 41 the high, 24 Sunday morning, 47 Sunday afternoon, and mostly cloudy, 90% chance of rain on Monday, 51. Could end with some snow Monday evening. That's something we'll watch out for. And then just plain cold and dry next week. Morning lows in the teens and 20s, highs in the 30s and 40s.
Thank you, Mike.
So New Year's in North Carolina. We just went through it. A lot of fun. We drop a lot of things. We drop acorns and blueberries and pickles and a lot more.
We like variety. A small town in Gaston County does something a little different. After the break, we go into the WRAL archive to bring you the story of the Cherryville New Year's shooters. You don't want to miss this.
So tonight's moment of nostalgia has some layers to it. Now, if you tuned in at 7 o'clock on Monday, you heard us talk about the many unique New Year's traditions around North Carolina.
Yeah, we mentioned a lot of the drops, right? And we also made a quick reference to something even more unique. It doesn't stop there. There are other drops around the state. The celebration is even more special this year because the Cherryville shooters will be there. Do you know what the Cherryville shooters are? Give them a Google search if you aren't sure what I'm talking about. So, did you do your homework? Did you look up the Cherryville shooters?
We did. A whole crowd showed up New Year's Eve at Cherryville City Hall.
For the old year's gone and the new year's come, and for good luck, we'll find
Okay. Every year in a little town in Gaston County, the shooters go door to door singing a song, packing muskets with gunpowder, and firing a shot to ring in the new year.
It's totally unique. It's a little crazy. WRAL has covered this group before. We went into the archive and found the reporter, Leslie Boney, went out to Cherryville in 1992.
Thanks for watching WRAL News at 7 o'clock. Have a great weekend. We leave you with this, your Friday moment of nostalgia.
Good evening to you, miss. We wish you a happy new year. Great health, long life, which God may bestow.
What a nice way to start the new year. 120 people dropped by your home to wish you well.
We have this New Year's morning called you by your name and disturbed you from your rest.
But let none of us forget, it has left us much in debt.
But if you want the company, you need to be ready to put up with more than just bad singing.
And if it be your desire, our guns and pistols they shall fire.
That's right. New Year's Eve wouldn't really be official here if folks didn't shoot it in. 250 years ago, the German immigrants who first settled here brought their tradition with them. Since then, every year, from midnight New Year's Eve to 6 or 7 p.m. New Year's Day, people put on their camouflage and coonskin caps, load up their old-style muskets with black powder, and fire them as far from their ears as they can.
And I wouldn't miss it for nothing. As long as I'm able to walk, I'm going.
And what do the people who receive this special New Year's Day gift think about it? Well, they say it takes some getting used to.
Billy Hayes drove in from Cary to make sure his wife learned about his hometown tradition.
But to actually see it, you have to be here and be a part of it to get the full impact, because when the guns go off...
Impact's the main word.
Impact, it goes right through you.
A tape doesn't do it justice. You can never get used to the sound. It's always louder than you remember.
Folks here admit it takes some getting used to. But before you put down their New Year's tradition, all they ask is for you to try it.
It's like New Year's already.
For CBS This Morning, I'm Leslie Boney in Cherryville, North Carolina.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.